Good morning, you guys. Happy Tuesday. It is again 8:30 PST, and this is Coffee and Coaching. It's like the 15th. I never know. You guys, this is embarrassing. I never know what date it is. Doesn't matter. We're like halfway through October. And anyways, coaching and coffee today, I want to focus on problems. Because we've all got them, right? Yeah, Jay-Z had like 99 of them. Sorry, really bad joke to start us off this morning. But anyways, I want to talk about problems because problems aren't actually real. And now that I've said that, I'm going to tell you about a little problem that I have. There's going to be a lot of things that like don't jive yet this morning. Just bear with me. I tend to work out the kinks, and they maybe sometimes get worked out at the end. So why don't we just dive into it? Like I said, we're talking about problems this morning and how there actually aren't any problems. And I'm going to tell you about a problem that I have with the self-help industry. So I've been coaching since about 2011. Yeah, 2011 is when I started. And I went through multiple different coaching schools, or 3 different coaching schools, one of them a year-long course. I've done coaching in the healthcare industry. I've done a lot of coaching on my own. I've done coaching in gyms. I've done coaching on nutrition. I've done a lot of different kinds of coaching. And where I've evolved to in my coaching practice is a point that is what some people might call spiritual coaching. So the way that I define my coaching is quite simply just that I believe that we are coming from 2 different places at all times. We are either coming from our heads, which is a very intellectual process. It's very like things that we know or have learned. So it's like we could learn how to be an electrical engineer, and then we apply those practices and those skills, and now we're able to accomplish that, profession or career because we have accumulated and learned that knowledge so we can regurgitate it and use it effectively. Okay, so there's coming from the head, and then there's coming from the heart. Now, if your passion is for electrical engineering and you're doing that thing, now you've got a combined head and heart endeavor. If you can't stand that, if you really want to be an artist and you found yourself in electrical engineering because that's what, society told you to do, your parents told you to do, whatever, now you're out of alignment and then you're going to experience conflict. Okay. So head and the heart is kind of where I base my practice out of. So when I say that it's a spiritual coaching practice that I have, it just means that my job is to get my clients from a place of their heart and their body and using all of their faculties that are true to their unique self, what they really want for themselves. And it's my belief, right? And so I want to really preface with that this is my belief that we are whole and complete and perfect as we are. So like in this moment, you are perfect in this moment. I am perfect in this moment. Everything is perfect. So whether or not you have like shit going on in your world or things aren't right in your opinion or whatever that is, like everything is perfect in my opinion as it is right now. So if we get to pick our belief systems, this is a belief that I pick, okay? And that's because it works for me and I've seen good come from it in my own life when I choose to believe things that are empowering in this way. So what I want to talk about today is the self-help industry. So we've seen these, and if you've followed this kind of stuff for any amount of time, there's a rhyme and a reason to it, particularly with the self-help industry post-internet, right? So it's always this like video series and sign up for this one free video, and then all of a sudden you're getting like it feels like unsolicited like 12 free videos, and then you're learning about how to quit sugar in 10 days, and then you're learning how to meditate in 3 days, and you're learning how to transform your entire life in 90 minutes every other day. I mean, it's just all of this like shenanigans and selling and people putting out information into the world on how to fix yourself. Have a 4-hour work week. Yeah, that sounds friggin' fantastic, but like there's just so many other people's strategies that are being imposed upon us in this day and age, and we're getting it through books, we're getting it through internet, we're getting it through our phones, we're getting it all the time. Like, hey, here's how to fix yourself. There's something wrong with you. Here's how to fix yourself. We get it day in and day out. And it's, we think that we're trying to help ourselves. Think that we're trying to improve ourselves. And yes, there's probably something to that. But from not probably, excuse me, I'm sorry. I know that there is a lot to that. And that a lot of that can work for a lot of people. It works for a lot of my my clients, and I've seen this. And so I'm for a lot of these things. I want to be clear that some of this works for some people, but there is no one size fits all, in my opinion. Everybody is totally perfect and unique just the way they are. So here's where the rub comes in for me, right? It's like how to stop doing X, Y, or Z, right? Or just to think positively, or do positive affirmations, or choose happiness, right? Just, it's a choice. It's always available. Just choose it, right? And so people are always putting this stuff out there that is just like, just do it. Just flip a switch, right? Just do it. What's your problem? Everybody else is doing it. Here's 3 steps how to get there. Oh, you need 10? Here's a 10-step program. And the thing about it is that, like, for me personally, I've dealt with depression pretty much as long as I can remember. I mean, sometimes it's, keeps me in bed for a couple weeks. Sometimes, I'm highly functioning with it. In the past, I used to cope through substance abuse, right? So, but it was always this thing that, like, I wasn't supposed to have or admit or acknowledge, and you certainly didn't, back in the day, you certainly didn't want to, indicate that you had depression for, like, insurance reasons, or, if you're on some kind of medication back, at least this is what I remember, and I could be remembering it wrong, but, like, it was a liability, and you might not get a job, or you might not be, hired for something, or whatever else, right? But the fact of the matter is, like, half of America is on antidepressants, right? And so if we are having this, like, epidemic of something's wrong with you, as evidenced by the billions of dollars that are going into the self-help industry and the problem-solving industry of how do we fix it with pharmaceuticals, now we've got, like, half of the United States, like, depressed but trying to fix it with a Band-Aid, or reaching outside of themselves to other people's solutions in order to feel better about themselves. So what I'm proposing to you guys today, and where I've been struggling with my own business, quite frankly, is that I choose not to believe that there is anything wrong. Like, I choose not to believe that there's anything wrong with any of you. I choose not to believe that I choose to believe that there's nothing wrong with me. So what I mean by this is quite simply, like, what's wrong with being depressed? Like, I've done it for, like, a long time, and I'm okay. And some moments I don't feel as okay. But when I focus on it and I try to fix it and I try to, like, get away from it and I push it away and I'm resistant to it, then it really feels heavy. Then it really feels like something is wrong, And, like, when I've had moments of, like, I'm so overwhelmed by the depression and just like, fuck it. Like, I'm, just gonna give into it. And I do, and I let myself be depressed for a little while. It usually passes. And that's because nothing in this life is permanent. So whatever that feeling is that you go to, for me, it's like depression, sadness, and frustration. If you go to anger or frustration or, something else, like whatever your MO is to deal, overwhelmed, stressed out, whatever that is, like, it's okay, because the thing about it is that it passes. Allowed to have the experience of it, and then it will pass. So I work with some younger kids, typically between the ages of 14 to 16, and primarily women, just simply because that's who I find I connect with the most. My whole goal is to try to help prevent this kind of stuff before it really takes, it gets a lot of momentum as, we get older. So what I find with a lot of these kids, like I said, 14 to 16 years old, so think about that, right, is that they're coming to me and they've already done a lot of work with counselors, therapists, psychotherapy. Many of them are already on something. So we're medicating our kids even younger. We're trying to fix them even younger. And they're 14, 15, 16. Oh my gosh. Like, when I was that young, I was screwed up. I was totally screwed up. But that's sort of part of life, right? I don't know a single person out there who was like, yeah, my adolescence was, like, amazing. I had my stuff figured out. Like, it was easy. It was full of, like, love and joy and whatever. Like, there are moments of that, right? There are moments of that in every stage of life, but there are stages of life. So it's okay to have these feelings that are perceived as negative or bad, that we're trying to push away, that we're trying to shove away. So these girls come to me, they've got these problems. They're anxious, they're depressed. Yes, I agree with you I agree that those things are not fun experiences to have, but just because they're unpleasant, it doesn't mean that they're not worthwhile. Now, here's the other side of the coin on this, is that there's something, I believe that there is something in those things, like I was saying, they are worthwhile. There are messages to be had there. There's information to be gathered. There's something to learn about ourselves or the world or others in those experiences. So those two are very fruitful experiences. When you are stressed or you are depressed or you are having, overwhelmed or stressed out or angry or frustrated, it's just really good information. And so if we treat it with compassion, if we treat it with love, if we ask it, who are you and what is the message? What is this depression? What am I supposed to learn from it? Now all of a sudden it can be our ally rather than something we're trying to fix or get away from. So the other piece of the puzzle here is that the more you focus on something, like the more you focus on a problem or you push it away, and we talked about this before, the more that we actually give energy, like the more energy we're giving to it. Now we're more focused on it. Now we're reaffirming it. Now we are keeping its existence present, right? And so I had a Qigong master a couple of years ago, and he would say that when you were practicing Qigong, which is a healing form of energy work, we would do a practice called lift chi up, pour chi down. And so you would generate chi energy, and then you would lift it up and pour it down. And I practiced Qigong for a long time, and I've heard many miracle stories about the efficacy of the energy work, and I could go on and on about it. But the key thing with it, he always made sure that we understood as a whole was that when you're pouring that chi down, like, you don't focus on the problem areas. Like for me, I wasn't supposed to focus on the cancer. I wasn't supposed to really see that chi, give it extra chi, just right up in here, right? Because I'm trying to fix the cancer. Like the chi didn't need to go directly to the problem area. It was just chi all the way through, that positive healing energy, that positive healing harmonious energy through my whole body. Because it wasn't about the problem, it's about creating a cohesive, positive healing experience for my entire being, right? And so I need a better analogy, but another example of this is we've all had warts at one point or another in our lives, right? Like when we're kiddos, we've had warts, or maybe, I had some a few years ago. I actually am kind of embarrassed to admit that. That's funny. But the more I tried to get rid of them, I bought the Dr. Scholl's burn it off. I was doing at-home immunotherapy, poking needles in it. I was doing eating certain things. I was rubbing banana peels and stuff on it. It was just they're unsightly. You don't want people to see them. I love having bare feet, whatever. Wanted it to go away. So this went on for, I don't know, however long I had them, maybe 6 to 8 months or whatever. And then I finally got so exasperated, I just said fuck it. And I gave up, and I just stopped paying attention to them. And then I remembered one day that, I had warts. I saw, I don't remember what it was that triggered it, but I forgot about it. And then I came back to it, and they were just gone. I went to see if they were there. They weren't in plain sight. They were on the underside of my foot, but they were just gone. And it was God, all I had to do was stop focusing on it. And then they went away. Now, some may argue oh yeah, but they all have a lifespan or whatever. But think of all that energy that I dedicated towards my body of being grossed out by it, or trying to fix it, or poking and prodding. And that's all negative energy that reaffirms its existence. And so if we just accept and we just love and we let go, by the way, when we let go, we try to let go once, because if we let go and let go and let go and let go, we reaffirm and we reaffirm and we reaffirm and reaffirm. So it's the problem's there, the problem's there, the problem's there. And so as we learn to let go wholly and completely and remember our wholeness and our completeness, and that there is nothing wrong and that there are no problems, then it becomes an energy of love and acceptance. And this is what I do for those 14-year-old girls that I mentioned earlier, for those 15, 16-year-old. This goes for everybody, but it's just that it's really plain and clear when I work with these young women, because they're not as well versed as covering it up or complexifying the issues or any of that kind of thing. And so when I get to work with a new client, any new client, but particularly these young women, what I see is that they've been told that there's something wrong. They've been told that they've got problems. Some of them will, make claims like, I'm sick, there's something wrong with me, I'm whatever, I am depressed, I am, I have panic attacks, I'm anxiety ridden, like, they're so focused on these things that are what's wrong, and everybody's trying to fix that. The therapist is trying to fix it. The counselor is trying to fix it. Let's talk about it. Let's reaffirm it. Let's try to cover it up with some drugs, some, Prozac or Wellbutrin or whatever that is, right? And so now we've got them on medication. Now we've got them numbing the experience. Now we're telling them that they're wrong. Let's talk about how there's this thing that's wrong with you. Let's reaffirm its existence. Let's rehash up more shit. By the way, let's try to figure it out. So now we can blame our parents. Now we can blame this other thing that happened to us. Now we can really dig into the evidence of why there's something wrong. This one time when this, my example is going to be this one time when this DARE officer yelled at me. I got used as like I volunteered for something in 6th grade as with a DARE officer that came in, and long story short, he looked like my dad, like, classic dark mustache and whatever else, and he yelled at me really loud in front of the class, and I broke down and just started bawling. And so that's why I'm scared of cops to this day. And if I have a positive interaction with a cop, I get really psyched about it. But I could blame that DARE officer in 6th grade. I could blame, like any mustached man that gave me like a sideways glance, right? Now I'm terrified of cops. It's true. Like my heart starts racing if I'm driving. I'm immediately terrified. I kind of feel like I have to vomit. Anyways, that's a different story. But all that to say, like, I've got all this evidence for why I'm scared of mustachioed men, particularly cops. And we could go through different examples. I'm sure that there are some that are actually more legit or relevant, but that's the first one that came to mind. So why not? So anyways, we're, spending all this time with our therapists, with our counselors, trying to fix the problem. We've got all this information coming in from our inbox of how to tap it away, how to meditate it away, how to solve all these problems that we're really focused on reaffirming. Now, my first task with any client is to, first of all, let them know that there is nothing wrong. Like that it is okay to be depressed, that it is okay to be anxious, that it is okay to be stressed out. That is okay. It is a part of our human experience. I've never met anybody that when I explained to them, like if I was feeling, depressed or anxious or sad or frustrated or angry or whatever feeling I was feeling, I've never met anybody that was like, oh God, that sucks for you. I have no idea what that would be like. Like we can be empathetic if we tap into our emotions because we are humans, and that is the one thing that we have in common across the boards to some degree or another, certainly for some of us. But essentially at the end of the day, that is how we are all connected, is that we are on this energetic level of emotional experience, energy in motions, emotions, we are all connected. And so if we focus on what is good and what is right and how we are whole and perfect and complete, and we start to honor that place in us that isn't broken, that isn't, doesn't need to be fixed, that is just okay, then we can start to have love and compassion for what is, regardless of whether or not it's something that feels good or we, maybe might be having a hard time accepting. Like that's okay. It is okay to be uncomfortable. And it is okay to be depressed, and it is okay to be angry, and it is okay to be frustrated. It is okay to be all of these things, because the second that we feel them, that we embrace them, that we ask them, like, what is this? What do I need to know from this? Now it becomes a learning opportunity, and our problem becomes something that we can grow from. Our problem becomes something that can actually add to our lives and bring goodness to us, instead of something that we numb. We try to use substances, we try to eat it away, we try to watch TV, we try to surround ourselves with friends that might seem healthy, go to the gym. Like we've got all these strategies to not feel. And by the way, I can relate to this because I still use these things. I love to eat my emotions. I love it. Like if I'm tired, I am in the fridge. And I don't even bother getting it out of the fridge. I'll just stand there and eat in front of the fridge. And it's fantastic because I have a big wall up in my house so that if I'm in the kitchen and nobody else is in there, they can't see that I am in the fridge eating. It's great. I get to just eat my emotions until the refrigerator door is open so long that it starts dinging and making noise. Like, hey, I've been open too long, shut the refrigerator door. And then that's a little embarrassing because my stepson or my husband will be like, oh, hey, honey, you forgot to close the fridge. And I'm like, nope, I'm actually in the fridge eating. So just to share, to like say, like, I get it. And here's the funny thing is, like, I've had this habit of eating my fatigue is what it really is, because I suffer from like chronic fatigue syndrome, whatever. I'm always tired. And so I try to eat my fatigue, and particularly at night. Now, I've been doing this since I was like 16 years old. Okay. So I've had a pattern of overeating at night for like, I don't know how old it's 14, 20, nope, can't be that old. Decade and a half. We'll go with that. So I've been trying to fix this problem for a decade and a half. Can you imagine trying to fix a problem for 15 years? Why can't I fix this problem? Why can't I fix this thing? Why can't I get it to go away? I've got, WikiHow, like, you can do it. There's like 10 steps with pictures on how to stop overeating at night, how to stop eating sugar. Like, that's, and so why can't I fix this problem? Well, I was talking to my coach about it the other day. The truth is, because I don't want to fix the problem, because I don't really see it as a problem, because I'm actually okay with it. I should think that it's a problem because society says it's a problem, because I'm 4 pounds overweight, because I'm not super fucking skinny, right? Like, I'm not pounding ice cream at night. Like, I'm having apples and peanut butter, so why is this such a big problem? Why do I devote so much of my energy trying to fix it? Why do I look for WikiHow on 10 steps with pictures, right? Like, if I just accept it, because the truth is, I don't want to let it go yet. And maybe someday I will, and maybe someday I won't. And either way, it's okay. But the second I accept it, the second that I'm cool with it, now all of a sudden it's not this like big thing in my life that I have to dedicate time, resources, and energy and mental capacity towards. Like, that shit gets really old. And so if I just like let go and, embrace it and say, okay, this is just kind of what I do, now all of a sudden it's not a problem. Now I'm not reaffirming the fact that it's happening in a way that is out of line with what I want for myself. And now it's easier to let go of. And so for you guys out there who are taking in all this information about how to fix something, what is wrong with you, how you shouldn't feel certain ways, how you should feel, and trying to fix all these things, there's really only one answer. And that's just complete and total acceptance. And again, totally my opinion, I don't know. But if you guys have been struggling with some of these things yourselves and you've been trying to fix it, read about it, fix it, get more information, fix it, like, fuck it. Like, stop trying so hard and just live your life. Be happy, accept what is, because it's happening anyways. I might as well let the cake thaw so that I can really enjoy the experience of eating it, so that I can get the full flavor of the cake, right? Because if I'm in rejection of it and I'm trying not to do it and I'm trying to do it fast so that my husband won't see, like, I miss out on the experience of it. And that's super lame. And I don't think any of you out there have ever had anything like that, right? God, am I totally alone on this? So all I'm trying to say is that if you have been trying to fix something, if you have been rejecting something, if you don't like something about the way that you are, my first suggestion to you is to stop trying to fix it. My first suggestion, I love cake. I love you, Gwen. My first suggestion to you is just to notice what you're rejecting. Notice where you're making yourself wrong. Noticing what you feel like isn't okay and what you are not wanting in your life may allow for some space around what it is, so that you can actually gain from the experience, so that you can actually learn something, so that you can actually be okay with what is. And when you are okay with what is, your energy sinks into a grounded space of where you can actually create something. So if you're trying to move forward, but you're rejecting something and devoting energy, it's like Kyle Cease, the transformational comedian who I love, always uses the example of, like, if you are trying to fix a problem, and let's say my problem is this chair, okay? So I'm fixed to this problem. I'm fixed to this chair. I can't get up out of this chair, right? So I have to stay stuck on this chair. And if I want to fix my problem, I have to stay focused on it. I have to be sitting on it. I have to be near it and with it. I have to be in proximity to this chair, so to speak. This chair is in my head and, the analogy. But like, I can't get up out of this chair to go see the endless possibilities down the hall. I can't get up out of this chair to go see what is outside and enjoy the beautiful day if I'm too focused on this chair. If I cannot leave this chair, I have no other options. And so as we accept, as we love, as we stop thinking that there's something wrong and we have to fix ourselves, we're actually able to let go of the attachment to the what's wrong, which is a perception or an idea or a belief. And now we can just open up and use that energy that is now available to create something different, or to create something good, or to find out what we are really wanting out of the experience. And so I want to leave you guys with that today. I hope that this is helpful in some way. And the last thing I'll share with you as it relates to all this is that all you have to do is commit to changing a belief. All you have to do is commit to being love and being acceptance, and that is all within you. It's not something that's outside of you. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to notice it and then accept it and be love and love anything that arises. And with that, there comes ease. With that becomes, the pressure is lifted. You become lighter. Everything just becomes easier. And all you have to do is love and just keep loving. And that's it for this week, you guys. So whatever arises, love that. There's a book out there, I think, called That by Matt Kahn, who's brilliant. He preaches this stuff all day long. So I like his work. It's not so much self-help, but it's more just about being what we are, which is beings of love, ultimately, in my opinion, right? So I hope that some of that sticks with some of you today. Please share this video with somebody who you think might, benefit from it as well. I'll be here next week, 8:30. And if you're interested in more of this kind of stuff, message me, and I can invite you to a little group that I have that talks about this stuff on a more consistent basis. So lovely to see some of you guys out there today in the virtual world. I wish I could see your face instead of mine, but great to be with you on a Tuesday morning, and I hope that this stays with you throughout your day, maybe even throughout your week. And I'll be here next week. All right, you guys, love you. Bye. Have a great week.